What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So it appears the developers basically gave us a slice of the atmosphere of Gotham, and I think it's actually quite interesting because there is something that I've always enjoyed about games that have their mechanics nailed down, regardless of the mechanic style, whether it's combat or whether it's something like, say, maybe your RPG or visual effects, and even the little things like dialogue or even open world conversations within the game. So the developers went ahead and released this little splice, and I thought I'd just play it for you. It's a 20-second clip here on Twitter, and it's a dialogue between just folk on the street. So let me play here so you can hear for yourself.
Expecting somebody to bug me.
There's a lot of stress in Gotham, but if you can deal with it, there's a lot of opportunity.
You might be right.
Now, for those of you who listen to this clip, I wonder if this does not somehow give you some sort of a reminiscent moment or some of the reminiscent moments that you got in one of the more popular games that did have a lot of very interesting goon conversation going on in it, and that's Batman Arkham Knight. Arkham City also had some really good goon, off the cuff conversations, but I think Arkham Knight takes the cake on that one. It really does win for sure. The goons are so silly, so goofy, so insane sometimes with the things that they say in this game that sometimes you can just glide around just to listen to the conversations. Some of you have even said that, you play the game and people in your home, in your household, they hear the conversations and they start laughing and you're not even paying attention because you're so tuned into the game. But the goons are talking over the background and some of the things they say are just outlandish. If Gotham Knights is able to achieve something like this, I strongly believe that we're in for a treat. Because one thing about gameplay mechanics, and this is something that Stephen Hill did mention in some masterclass that he did. Can you imagine there was a masterclass that Stephen Hill did to lecture DICE developers? This was actually shared with me by one of my audience members, Baki, a long time ago. And it was very interesting to see it because these developers, their job was just to pretty much sit down and listen to the boss in terms of game mechanics, just talk about how you can execute to the optimum or most optimum level. And one thing that Stephen Hill said in that particular masterclass was, when you're developing a video game, you want to make sure that you tune every single mechanic to be as good as it possibly can be. Now, this is a high bar to set. Am I expecting that Gotham Knights is going to knock all of its mechanics out in a 9 out of 10? I don't know. I don't think I'm expecting that from them. But I'm also willing to say this is kind of like their very first game. I know someone's going to shout at me in the comment section and say Arkham Origins. Yo, most of the team that made Arkham Origins, I don't think most of them are there. The creative director for that game is already left the studio a long time ago. You can go follow and check on his LinkedIn and see what he's up to these days. And a lot of the devs that worked on that game have probably moved on to other studios in that area or across the world. So Arkham or Gotham Knights is kind of Warner Brothers Games Montreal's first iteration in a sense that's original to them. And so as they're actually moving this game forward, I'm hoping that they're taking notes with the mechanics that they score 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 and make those mechanics hit that, 10 out of 10 mark, like the way the Arkham games were able to polish everything, or even like the way Marvel's Spider-Man was able to polish its own dialogue. For those of you who remember, you're quite aware that Peter Parker had his own character get recorded. Every single possible dialogue that they wanted you to go through, they recorded it with him in a resting state and in a much more elevated state. I don't know if you guys remember. So if Peter Parker was like maybe, swinging or webbing his way all over the place, they recorded him in a conversation. Maybe he had a phone call with Aunt May. You would hear that phone call in two different ways. In one way, he would be speaking with Aunt May in a maybe rested voice. Maybe say you're just perched somewhere and Aunt May gives you a call. And then in another way, if you're swinging around and you're like, your heart rate's higher, you're breathing faster, Peter Parker is going to talk in a way that's actually showing that he's, in that kind of a situation. So these mechanics require a lot of polish. And from what we heard, I think we might be seeing some of those things within the Gotham Knights game. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to hit 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10, but I do like that little snippet that I heard. And I hope that they bring more of those things into the game and eventually take these notes and move them forward into other productions in the future. I would love to hear your thoughts nonetheless, though. Did the goons in Arkham Knight make a difference to your experience? Did they add to it? They did add to mine, and I hope they added to yours. And do you think if we have those kinds of funny quips and interesting conversations in Gotham Knights that is actually going to resonate with you? Let me know all of this in the comment section. I really appreciate you guys' time and audience, and hopefully we'll speak soon in another video. Peace out.